Oi oi, hello and welcome to another GG.CO.UK trends video. This is an exciting one. It is the Royal Ascot cheat sheets special. Now, long-time followers of GG and myself will know that I like to produce these cheat sheets for major festivals. We've had some good success through Cheltenham's, through Aintries, even Royal Ascot last year, we picked out some winners too. What they aim to achieve is highlighting a high-level overview of each race at the Ascot Festival to tell you things that you may want to look at or things you may want to consider when profiling a horse to win a particular race. Now, they are not supposed to be used as a sole focus. So, for example, if you were to use these trends to highlight one horse and one horse only in every single race, I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to make money. But what they will do is they will give you a bit of insight as to why markets may be reacting in certain ways to certain horses. If you see a horse that's a bigger price than you think it should be, maybe it's the fact that it's got a terrible draw, or maybe it's the fact that a particular lead-up race that they've gone through is a bad pointer for Royal Ascot winners. Maybe it's an age thing, maybe it's a weight thing, maybe it's a rating thing. There's a lot of depth of information that goes in to these articles to bring them down to that highlighted view. But as you can see behind me, there are a couple of the cheat sheets shown there. I'm going to pull them up as a visual on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about as I talk about them. And ultimately, I'm giving you a one-liner, but if you click the links in the description to read the full article, there will be multiple bullet points telling you the key top line trends for the last 10 renewals of the races at the Royal Ascot. Now, there are some new new races that have been there for sort of 5 years. So again, I will talk about those specifically in the fact that in the 5 renewals, this is what's happened, but they can be a real good guide. And they also have found us winners in the past. So look, without further ado, I'm going to go through each of the 5 days. Typically in these videos, I might just be doing one of them, but no, you're going to have all 5 in this video. I'm going to remind you as well that this week we'll be recording a Royal Ascot studio special. I cannot tell you how excited and privileged I feel to be in the position where we get to sit down, myself, Kate and Andrew, to talk about Royal Ascot. It's going to be the same theme as Cheltenham. It's going to be our top 10 bets. And while Cheltenham was a difficult period, we did okay long-term on those ones there from the top 10 list. And I'm hoping that I've done enough homework for Royal Ascot that at this stage of us recording, a little bit before we get those final declarations, that I'm going to be able to point us in the direction of a few winners. There's a horse in there, which is, I can't put in here as a spoiler alert, but there's a horse in there that ticks every single boxes for a race, the Wokingham, who is a strong fancy for Royal Ascot for myself. So if you tune into that video, it's going to be live on Thursday on a normal weekend watch slot. You're going to find out who that is. If you're watching it after, go back and find that video to watch it. Right, waffling done. Let's crack on and look at day 1 high-level view for this cheat sheet. Now, as I say, there's more depth in the articles. You can click the link in the description to see those. But on day 1, we kick off Royal Ascot with the Queen Anne Stakes. So they will have won at a mile and more than once. You want to look for a 4-year-old rated 116 or higher with at least a Group 2 win, but preferably a Group 1. And you want to respect runners from the Lockinge. Now, just for the third part of this, I won't do this for every single line, but a race like the Queen Anne, if you were to look at this, and I'm talking about runners coming from the Lockinge, the first 4 in the betting come from the Lockinge. So the weighting of what part of the highlighted overview you want to use is up to yourself. And in the article, as I say, the bullet points are in there to tell you, say 9 out of 10 or all of the last 10 or 7 of the last 10. So look, sometimes they might help you, sometimes they may just reconfirm things, and they're not explicit, okay? So we've got that said now. The Coventry Stakes, they will have had no more than 2 runs, has won a race, which was probably last time out, has run in the last 32 days and has already raced at 6 furlongs. King Charles III Stakes probably has already raced at Ascot and has either 0 or 1 win this season, carrying at least 9 stone 4 and has 2 to 3 runs this season. And you want to respect second favourites. Some of these may sound a little bit niche, but there are time after time certain races where actually, you know, the actual outcome versus the expected outcome, it is more beneficial to back a horse in a certain position in the market. The favourite, of course, is the favourite potentially for a reason, but it is a label that's been given to the horse that is at the front of the betting. Sometimes it's good to avoid favourites. Sometimes it's good to respect them. In the St James's Palace Stakes, will have already won this season and they would have placed top 2 last time out. Probably has not run at Ascot. They will be sent off 4 to 1 or shorter. They have 2 or 3 runs this season and they last ran within 26 days. Ascot Stakes should have won at this trip. has 3 or 4 flat wins, and has run 2 or more times this season, you want to look for horses that are drawn between 1 and 7 and 17 and 19. Again, at this stage, before we've got final declarations, confirmations, we don't know what the draw is going to be. So you can get yourself a bit of a shortlist potential in some of these horses, see who gets declared, see how the draw comes out, and that may swing yourself in favour of a horse or not. These can be really handy for when you're doing place pot type bets, because the value there is trying to get through a leg as opposed to potentially finding the winners. And in some of these big field handicaps, the draw can be such a significant marker, whereas in some races, I don't think it makes too much difference. The Wolferton Stakes is not drawn in stalls 1 to 4, has run this season and did not win last time out, has between 3 and 5 career flat wins, is aged 4 or 5 and has an official rating of 106 or higher. Now in that one as an example, I've said is not drawn in stalls 1 to 4. Now sometimes it can be so patently obvious that a horse cannot win from a draw. In some instances it may just be that in the last X amount of renewals, we've not had a winner from those stalls. So it doesn't mean it's necessarily an impossible task. However, if it is, I will tell you that. Copper Horse Stakes, race was introduced in 2020, should be drawn in stall 7 or higher, so from a small sample, rated 99 or higher, has not won on the flat this season, but placed top 3 last time out, probably has not run at 14 furlongs. So day 1 cheat sheet out the way. I've given a bit of extra insight in there. Not to rush through the video because it doesn't need to be done, but I'll leave this now as just peeling off the bits that are in there. You can drop comments on the video and I'll try and get hold of as many of those as I can, but I feel like the articles are fairly self-explanatory and I feel like I've given enough depth behind them. So let's crack on. Day 2, Queen Mary Stakes. Should have won a race, probably won last time out, probably will come from stall 14 or higher, and respect the front 2 in the betting. Queen's Vase will not have run at Ascot, should have placed top 3 last time out, and has run at least once this season. Should have 2 or more runs at 10 to 12 furlongs, and you want to respect Aidan O'Brien and John and Thady Gosden runners. Duke of Cambridge Stakes, likely to be a 4-year-old who has raced this season but probably has not won this season, or is unbeaten this season. Mouthful there, but if you go and look at the link in the article, in the link in the description and read the article, you'll see of all the winners that have been in this race, they fit a certain mould. Should have won at a mile, they should have placed last time out, and has 4 or more career wins. Prince of Wales Stakes, Irish bred, will have won at 10 furlongs, in the top 3 in the betting, but probably not the favourite. Has an official rating of 119 or higher. They placed top 3 last time out and they have run at Ascot. Royal Hunt Cup, preferably aged 4, carries between 9 stone dead and 9 stone 5. Has run this season, has 3 or more career wins, at least placed last time out. Has run at Ascot and drawn 4 to 11 or 20 plus. Kensington Palace Stakes. Race was introduced in 2021, so we've got fewer renewals to talk about here. But from those winners that we have had, will be priced 10 to 1 or bigger. Last ran 18 to 31 days ago. Has run 2 or more times at 7 furlongs and has no more than 1 win this season. Windsor Castle Stakes, they ran in the last 26 day. Probably not the favourite. Has no more than 2 runs. Has won a race and placed top 2 last time out. And respect those in the highest or lowest 2 stalls. For that Windsor Castle Stakes, it's not going to necessarily find you the winner every single year, but it's phenomenal how the highest 2 or the lowest 2 stalls seems to be a big bias in a race like that. Right, day 3, kicking off with the Norfolk Stakes. Last winning favourite was back in 2008, so maybe you're due one if you're a half glass full, or if a half glass empty. It's been a while, right? So look for runners priced 8 to 1 or bigger who have already won a race. Bonus if they're drawn in the lowest 4 stalls and they're probably Irish or American bred. King George Stakes, unlikely to be the favourite. Look for horses rated 90 to 94 and preferably carrying 9 stone 3 or less. Should have won this season, and respect runners from the highest 3 stalls. I feel like races like this, when we're saying, look, you want to avoid the favourite essentially, a small rating band, a smallish weight band when you bring the rating in there as well. Horses that should have won this season, and then from like the highest 3 stalls, you're going to whittle this right down. Like I say, it's not guaranteed to find you the winner, but it's going to profile a horse that probably will go well. And historically, had you followed these trends, you would be doing okay. Ribblesdale Stakes will have an official rating of 94 or higher. Has been beaten 2 or more times. Trained by Aidan O'Brien or the Gosdens and finished top 3 last time out. The Gold Cup should have won this season and is likely to be unbeaten. Ideally has an official rating of 117 or higher in the first two in the betting with a preference to favourites. So I've poo-pooed favourites in lots of these. Look, if they are the ones to side with, we're going to highlight that. Britannia Stakes carries 9 stone 3 or less and has had 3 or 4 runs this season or hasn't been beaten. So they should have run 3 or 4 times, or if they've run less than that, or potentially even more, but less than that, so once or twice, they haven't been beaten. Look for those drawn in stalls 10 to 19 with the preference to those with an official rating of 90 to 95. Hampton Court Stakes will have an official rating of 103 or higher and ran in the last 47 days. They're likely to have won a race this season, and look to those inside the first two in the betting with a preference to second favourites. In the Buckingham Palace Stakes, this race was cancelled from 2015 to 2019. But look, of the 5 renewals since, rather than putting just the 5 before as well, the profile suggests they'll be aged 4, has no more than 1 win at 7 furlong, has been beaten this season and drawn in stall 24 plus. That's going to whittle things down fairly significantly. Right, the day 4 cheat sheet. First race of the day is the Albany Stakes. They will have won last time out. They should be unbeaten. Typically, they're drawn in stalls 2 to 8 or 13 to 16. Commonwealth Cup, likely to be a single figure price and preferably drawn no higher than stall 8. Should be rated 111 plus, should have won a group race and likely to have run and won this season. The Duke of Edinburgh Stakes, look for 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds drawn in stalls 12 or higher. Ideally rated 96 to 104 with preference to those carrying between 9 stone 2 and 9 stone 4. Has run this season and respect last time out winners. Coronation Stakes, in the first 3 in the betting, has an official rating of 110 plus, has won a group race and ideally at least a group 2, and respect the Irish 1,000 guineas winner if they line up. Now, of course, the day that I'm recording this, Lake Victoria has been ruled out of Royal Ascot. So while that would have been relevant while she was still in, she's not here. So you don't need to respect the Irish 1,000 guineas winner because they're not lining up. Sandringham Stakes will have run this season and preferably more than once. Placed top 3 last time out and ideally has raced at a mile. Irish bred runners and those carrying 9 stone 2 or more should be respected. Moving on to the King Edward Stakes, will have an official rating of 103 plus, has run in the last 8 weeks, probably has been beaten this season and most likely beaten last time out. Look towards the first 3 in the betting. Next up, we've got the Palace of Holyrood House Stakes, a race that was introduced in 2020. Of those renewals that we've had, drawn in stall 11 or higher, no more than 2 flat wins, 3 or 4 runs this season, and they've won this season, carrying between 8-8 and 9-1, 4 or more runs at 5 furlongs, and has not been to Ascot. That whittles off day 4's top line trends. And on to the final day, day 5. We kick off with the Chesham Stakes. Likely to have had just 1 run, and they should have won. Respect Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore favourites. They're the only combination that has had a winning favourite in this race in the last decade, and they've had 5 of them as well. You've got to go back to a Richard Hannon runner, I don't know how far back it is, but 13 or 14 years. Aidan O'Brien actually did have another winning favourite a couple of years before these stats came in, but yeah, essentially it's easy to say respect the favourite, but it's a favourite that's ridden by Ryan Moore and trained by Aidan O'Brien that you really want to be potentially highlighting. Hardwick Stakes will have an official rating of 112 plus, has 4 or more career wins and has won at 12 furlongs. Nice to have run at Ascot and nice to be a 4-year-old, nice to be single figure priced and to have won last time out. But those first few are the relevant ones. 112 plus official rating, 4 or more career wins and has won at 12 furlongs. Queen Elizabeth Stakes, the Jubilee Stakes is also known, ideally has run at Ascot, is rated 114 or higher and has 4 or more wins at 6 furlongs. Probably didn't win last time out, should have won a Group 1 and should be drawn in stall 9 or lower. The Jersey Stakes, drawn no higher than stall 10, has 2 or more career wins, 2 or more runs this season with an official rating of 110 or higher, and respect those who last ran in a 2,000 guineas. What I mean by a 2,000 guineas is either the British, the Irish or the French 2,000 guineas. Wokingham Stakes, Irish or British bred, should have run at Ascot and more than once, has run but probably hasn't won this season, has 12 or more flat runs, is a double figure price and is rated between 99 and 105. That is the Wokenham Stakes. The Golden Gate Stakes, another sort of newly introduced race. This was in 2020, but of the 5 renewals we've had, likely to have won this season, has an official rating of 90 to 95 and is drawn in stall 13 or higher. And then the Queen Alexandra Stakes, probably is a 6-year-old or older, has an official rating of 102 or higher with at least 2 flat wins, doesn't need to have won this season, preferably has been to Ascot and is priced 11 to 2 or shorter. So that wraps up the cheat sheets for every single day of Royal Ascot. As I say, there's a link in the description to get the article. You can get those images that are sat behind me and I've pulled up on the screen. You save them in your phone. If you're going racing or you're in the pub or you're at work, wherever you're doing, you've got that as a quick glance overview of what you need for a race. As I say, it's going to profile. It's definitely going to find winners. There's no doubt about that. Is it going to be profitable to back blind if you just picked every single top 10 trend ticker in here? I don't know, and possibly not. But I do think it is important to look at these different types of things. There'll be lots of talk on the TV or amongst different people where they'll say, it's got a bad draw, it's got a good draw. And looking at some of these trends can, I think, highlight whether that is relevant, why it's relevant, or if it's absolute tosh. So with that all said, thank you so much for your support. Really excited about Royal Ascot this season. It looks like it's going to be a phenomenal 5 days of racing. Check out our preview for it where we've got our top 10s in there. There's going to be probably a quiz in between as well, which is very exciting if you know the answers, but not so much if you're struggling on a couple. We really do appreciate your support on this channel. So thanks again for all of that. And I will speak to you again very soon.